All right, everybody, so welcome back. So this morning we are talking a bit of politics with Phillip Alexander, leader of the Progressive Empowerment Party. And we do have Mr. Alexander on the line. Mr. Alexander, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. We do appreciate it. And compliments of the season to you.
Morning, Marlon. Compliments of the season to you, your viewers, and everyone. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I saw this picture. It was last week. And the picture, and you know the picture that I'm speaking about, it has the opposition leader, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, Ansel Roger, Garvin Nicholas, and of course you. I'm seeing also Ozzy Warwick and another a representative at the back in the picture. Last time that we would have spoken, and this is not the first time that we are going to speak about your party's relationship with the UNC, and as I speak to you this morning, I remember you always speaking about this support. So I want you to explain this picture to us. What do we see here?
This picture is a picture taken before, I believe, the meetings we all had with the leader of the opposition. And everyone who came there with the knowledge that it was a discussion about creating a coalition of interests to rescue Trinidad and Tobago.
Right. So does that mean that there is going to be a coalition with these leaders here and their respective parties with the UNC in the next general election? Is that safe to say?
The only question I could answer there is if there's going to be a coalition between the Progressive Empowerment Party and the United National Congress. The answer to that is yes. Every other leader has to deal with the political leader of the United National Congress, who has lead in this, because by sheer numbers, they're the largest party. So they're going to carry the largest amount of weight in what we are trying to do, which is to rescue Trinidad and Tobago from the insanity of this People's National Movement failure of our government.
All right, so let's talk now about this coalition. Coalition as it relates to your party's perspective. How do you see your party working in this coalition with the UNC?
Actually, I want to say that when I set out on March the 2nd, which started this ball rolling, March the 2nd of this year, I announced I would support Kamala Persad-Bissessar as the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. I put my voice into what was some chaos taking place in the public space to defend her, and it evolved to this. I am following her guidance where coalitions are concerned. We didn't ask for anything. I am here to make sure that she wins the election. What role she wants me to play as leader, because Prime Minister and political leader are powerful positions. They get to determine where best to put pieces on the board, who serves best where. So I have to leave that to her.
Okay. But you see, Mr. Alexander, as you know, and I don't have to tell you, people are very wary when they hear a politician say, well, I didn't ask for anything, I just want to serve.
No more than me, Marlon. Again, you've interviewed me enough times to have wondered why this man didn't just sell out like the rest of them, find himself in a position, feather his nest and move on like the rest of them. He obviously has the ability. He's politically sexy. His voice is strong. Why doesn't he? I was that's first real influencer on social media a lot longer than all of the other parties.
All right, Mr. Alexander, I think that you're moving a little bit too much, so we're losing you. But go ahead. Let's try again.
I don't know. What did you not get?
Yeah. Well, we're hearing you loud and clear now. Let's get back to the question of you saying, well, I didn't ask for anything. You're here to serve.
But I'm saying to you, you've interviewed me long enough to know that I had the ability, I've had the offers to join with all the parties and all the governments. I've resisted because I wanted to see if it were possible to shepherd in an option beyond the PEP and the UNC. I have worked very hard at that. I could never be called a pop-up party because unlike the other parties, I am very present on the ground between elections. I've done a lot for everybody. Phillip will fix it. It had to do with people knowing that they could reach out to me if they couldn't get their elected representative, and they would get some response and they'd probably get some results. So you know that my speaking for me and the party that I lead, it is about service the country and wanting a better country and trying to do that by example and sacrificing all the sacrifices it takes, because people see me as a politician the way they see Kamla Persad-Bissessar and Keith Rowley, and the only difference is I don't get paid for all the things that I do, and I'm out there doing it. And I've made sure to demonstrate that a political party that wants your vote should be willing to be there with you between elections and not just pop up when an election comes along.
Yeah, but let's look now at the strategy of your party. Because if we're speaking about a coalition now, how is this going to impact, let's say, the original thrust of your party when it comes to the next general election? I'm sure that maybe you had, as a party, decided, well, here's what. We are going to contest this seat and that seat and this seat and so on. Because of this new coalition, have there been changes in your approach?
Massive, massive changes.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say this. To be a good leader, you have to be able to be a good follower. If we join with the United National Congress, I have no illusions about who is the leader. The leader of this coalition would be the leader of the biggest party. We bring to the table what we bring. I just want to say this, direct to the heart of the issue. Trinidad is collapsing. There is no avoiding that. Nobody is happy. The country is in a disaster. The malls, the stores are closing in the malls at 5:30. A woman get robbed inside Price Mart. You drive with one eye and one ear open because you're living a slalom course. People have no water. You can't get 10 US in the bank to buy something online, but the 1% could get billions so they could bring in the same things you're trying to buy and gouge you with profit. The country has been hijacked. It is being held against the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Laws are being written that are silencing people's voices and taking away our human rights. And if we don't get together and stop it, we will rue this day that we let the opportunity pass. And I just want to say one more thing. If this is all you let me say, that the cashless society, the cashless economy that Colm Imbert is trying to ram down people's throats is the end of democracy. It is the end of freedom. We have plenty things to deal with, you know. We have property tax to end. Property tax is madness by itself, and that's a whole show. But we have to stop this PNM that is willing, obviously, to sign away our sovereignty to the WHO, to the WEF, and now to the United States of America. I understand they're talking about using Trinidad as a staging area for war.
No, well, the Prime Minister responded to that a few days ago and had denied that talk. All right?
I was closing my fridge at the time. I don't trust him. He has lied before. He has lied by omission when Stuart Young didn't tell us what Delcy came to the country at the height of the lockdown for. We still don't know. Trinidad has been gambled away on a casino board between some big players.
But I want to get back to the question that I asked, and it was about your party in the next general election. Are we going to see representatives from your party contesting seats in the next general election?
That will be guided by the leader of the coalition. She will choose where she wants pieces on the board. That's what I said. We have our candidates. We were in the process of screening, as you are aware.
Yes.
We literally stuck a pin to have this coalition conversation. And I want to say this, I am clear enough in my mind to know the dangers facing this country that I said, we will not create an obstacle for the United National Congress, even if there is no coalition. So if you're asking me outside of a coalition, Will we put candidates up? The answer is no, because we need to rescue Trinidad and Tobago from the PNM, and the only way to do that is to marshal all the votes towards something that could break them, because if we don't, Trinidad is in trouble.
All right, so since this picture really, we have been seeing past videos of you, Mr. Alexander, where you would have not said very good things about Mrs. Prasad Bissessar and her leadership style and so on. But I suspect there are going to be some people today who are going to say, well, Phillip Alexander said that a few months ago, a few years ago, but how is he now within or a part of the United National Congress as being part of a coalition?
Modern politics is war. The first time I met Amory Brown was when I was a very powerful influencer. I was not in politics. I was the head of the Jericho Project. And Amory Brown invited me to the Marriott to tell me, Keith Rowley is the death of this country. He will destroy Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, hold on. That was a private conversation between you and Mr. Brown?
Mr.
Allegedly?
Brown said that Mr. Brown wore his PNM Balize tie to frustrate Keith Rowley as opposition leader. You're forgetting all of this?
I can't remember that. I can't remember.
Your archives, archives.
Right.
TV6.
But go ahead. Because I think that what is striking me. Hold on, Mr. Alexander. You have said, well, here's what. You understand that Mrs. Prasad Bissessar is the leader, but we have watched you over the years, you know, Mr. Alexander. And I mean, with the greatest of respect to you,
and love.
Hold on. The greatest of respect to you, I don't know if you are working with someone and they are heading in another direction that you are going to say, well, here's what, I accept that. That is not the Phillip Alexander we know. That is all I'm saying.
But you've never seen me in a position subservient to another leader. So you can't say that.
Okay.
My political career and the choices I have made are determined by what I think is best for me and my country. That's it. Carl Members and Keith Rowley, Penelope Beckles and Keith Rowley, Patrick Manning and Keith Rowley, Marlene McDonald and Keith Rowley, Foster Cummings and Keith Rowley now. Politics is war. Everybody knows what they're in it for.
Yes, but to the people on the fence. But to the people on the fence. Because the PNM will have its members. You will have your members. The UNC, they will have their members. But to the people on the fence, they may say, well, Phillip Alexander has to believe in something, you know. You can't be flip-flopping.
I never flip-flop. When you look at Gary Griffith, that's a flip-flop. He was PNM, COP, UNC, that's a flip-flop. Anybody who would give him a job and a plate of food.
But why would Mr. Alexander, why would I ask you the question you're telling me about somebody else? We're talking about Phillip Alexander.
I know what you're hearing in your earpiece when TV6
but here's what, let me take it out. Look at, I take it out.
When the media calls Phillip Alexander, it is to ask questions that they wouldn't ask any of these other pop-up leaders. It is to try to damage my credibility, and I know, but I have millions of views on social media. You have to let me finish a sentence so that the public doesn't think that this is another hatchet job.
Well, here's what. It is I who said to call Phillip Alexander, because I wanted to speak to Phillip Alexander. Nobody else. Go ahead.
But I have the greatest of respect for you, but I know that you work for a company and a station that it too has an agenda.
Well, here's what. But hold on. Before we move on, this interview, it is I who requested this interview, nobody else. All right? So whether this interview goes well or descends into a particular direction, I will have to take responsibility for it. So go ahead.
Go ahead. Say it to you.
Go ahead.
It is unfair to me.
Go ahead.
That the media asks questions of me that they don't ask of other political leaders.
That's not true.
And
that's not true.
Okay, have you ever asked the NTA leader who funds him, how much members he has, who elected him? Those were the first 3 questions I had to answer after January 18, 2017, when we launched the Progressive Empowerment Party. How come no one has asked Gary Griffith those 3 questions?
Well, I don't know that no one has ever asked him those questions, but just because you want to ask him those questions, that doesn't mean that we in the media have done something wrong. If it is, that is what you want to know, call Gary and ask him.
No, I'm not me. I know. I have my answers. But yes. I'm saying it's unfair to me that the media does not ask the other party leaders the same hard-hitting questions they ask me. Gary Griffith gets more media time in a week than I've gotten since I'm in politics. You all have had the opportunity. You all have had the opportunity to ask these
But you know, Mr. Alexander, you know what's amazing with this interview this morning? I'm asking you to talk about you and your political party, and you're speaking about a host of other people.
Because you asked me about if there were times that I would have said things about Kamala
Yes.
or Gary Griffith or anybody. Politics is war. We are fighting for the nation. But right now, Trinidad is on fire. And we have to put any animosity aside and agree to work together to save it. That's more important. If you reach home with groceries and your house on fire, you're going to pack away your groceries or you're going to out the fire. This is the reality of where we are.
Yeah.
Trinidad is madness for most of the people living in it, while the rest of the world around us are going forward beautifully. The United States of America has the highest economy it's ever had just by changing the government. We need the threat of a change of government to wake Trinidad and Tobago up. The voters in this country need to remember they are responsible for how the country runs. That's what I am here to say.
Right.
Yes, I have disagreed with Kamla Prasad-Bissessar. Yes, I think Basdeo Pandey was a good prime minister, but he was a corrupt crook. I could have 2 thoughts. But if it is time to put aside my beliefs, I could do that in the best interest of the country that I leave for my children and yours. That's
Phillip
important.
Alexander. Phillip Alexander.
Phillip Edward Alexander.
Thank you very much for speaking with us this morning. We have run out of time, but thank you for taking the energy up this morning. We appreciate it. We'll speak soon.
Have a great day.
All right, bye-bye. We're coming back, everybody. Phillip Alexander.